Hey, welcome back to the podcast. Today, I have another interview for you. I'm going to have several interviews over the next few weeks, so check back on Tuesdays to see who is coming up next in the interview series. But today, I have Justine here. So in today's episode, you're going to learn a little bit more about her story, and where she's at today, and how that's helped her manifest her dream life, and some of her tips and tricks and tools that she's used to help her overcome, stress and anxiety and mom life and career and doing all the things. So Justine she's actually a work from home mom. When she first sent me her stuff, she was like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. And she is a stay-at-home mom. She does work from the home, but she is a work from home mom, if you ask me. So that's just my 2 cents in there. But she's also a business owner. She's a wife. She's a boutique model. If you ever get the chance to check out that boutique, it's the Dash Boutique. Hit Justine up for a discount code. They have super cute things there. And she's a virtual assistant. So she has a bachelor's degree in social work as well as her CNA license, which actually kickstarted her working life. And she has over 10 years experience in healthcare and taking care of people. So Justine says that finding confidence while working on herself and doing more of the things that she loves is where she's at right now. And she loves going on adventures. She loves things all bright and sparkly. She loves coffee, and she loves just smiling and having fun. She's a very bubbly, outgoing individual. You will just love her. She's also working on growing herself spiritually, and she's helping others build and grow their confidence as well. You guys are going to love this episode. Justine is just a ball of light, ball of fire. You're going to love her. And before we dive into today's episode, I want to send out a quick reminder that the Lake of the Ozarks retreat is coming up. We are just about 6 weeks away from it. When you're listening to this podcast, it is October 7th through October 10th. We have only 4 spots left. 4 spots left. So if this is something that interests you, if you're looking for a getaway, if you're looking for like-minded women to help surround yourself with, if you're looking for adventure, if you're looking for deeper connection with yourself or with your spiritual side, this is for you. So just a brief overview. We're going to check in on, it's actually Thursday through Sunday. So Thursday is check-in. We're going to have some social hour. We're going to set our intentions. We're going to do, I have a few tricks up my sleeve, so I don't want to tell you all the things. And then Friday we have an adventure planned. Saturday we have an adventure planned. All meals are provided. You're going to have an amazing welcome bag full of some of my favorite self-care goodies. You get a t-shirt along a few other things in there too. So this is your weekend to kick back, relax, have some fun, lots of laughter, lots of personal development, some energy healing, all the things. I'm going to bring my crystals and my cards so you guys can try all those things too, because I know that's a fan favorite. Every time I bring my crystals or my oils or my cards, folks get to really try those out. And then usually we hit up some type of crystal shop so that you can, build up your own supply too. So we are closing registration September 11th. So if this is something that you've been thinking about doing, I highly suggest that you head on over to SaushaDavis.com, secure your spot. Or if you're on the fence, or if money is an issue, or if you're not sure if we can accommodate your needs in any way, shape, or form, I want you to set up a free clarity call with me. So also head on over to SaushaDavis.com. You'll see that free clarity call in there. Otherwise, if you're following me on Instagram, just click that link in my bio. There'll be a free clarity call link in there as well, or just send me a DM. Okay. So let's dive into today's episode. You guys are going to love Justine. So without further ado, here she is. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, I have another interview for us, and I have Justine on today. We were just chatting a little bit about family and confidence. I met Justine online, believe it or not, last year. And I'm interested in talking about this confidence thing, because I would have never known, like on the outside, that would be something that like you were working on this last year. Right. So right. We'll dive into some family stuff, some confidence building stuff, some mindset stuff, some gratitude. So stay tuned, you guys. I'm pretty excited for this conversation. But Justine, go ahead and introduce yourself to our listeners today.
My name is Justine Weir. Most of my social media says Justine Elizabeth, and I'm a mom to 2 beautiful girls, a wife. I try to wear as many hats as possible and end up stretching myself a little thin. I'm pretty much, I like to say I'm a jack of all trades just because I like to just do it all. Yeah, I don't know, stay at home mom, I guess. I try to be a light for other people as much as I possibly can.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. So let's go into a little backstory. Where were you, or who were you kind of before you had kids? And then let's walk through that kids transition, because I know mindset has shifted, confidence has shifted, and the way you even like make money has shifted. So we can talk about all different kinds of things, but walk me through like a little bit about like the history of you, the story of you, of how you become this person that you are today.
So I grew up in a small town, and I struggled with confidence even back then. Just this like scrawny little girl who, just kind of stuck out like a sore thumb, it seemed like. And I ended up going to college. I was a cheerleader. That was like a big thing that helped boost my confidence getting into college, was becoming a cheerleader and having something to push me through. And it honestly got me through some really tough times in college. I ended up kind of losing myself in, just the stress of college, during college for a hot minute. And, I had a little issue with alcohol there for a very hot minute, and I just kind of was spiraling out of control. And then it was I didn't even know what I was going to do for college. I changed my majors probably 6 times before finally setting on social work. My biggest thing was always, I want to make a difference in the world. I want to help people. And I thought for the longest time I had to do it medically. I have my CNA license since I was 16. And so I would work a ton from the age of 16 until I would say just recently. Even now I struggle with it, but I would work as much as possible. Sometimes 2 to 3 jobs. I would be working overnights and then going to school. And I even did that in high school. I'm sure some of my classmates even remember me falling asleep in class. I've always spread myself thin, that's for sure. And then I had to do 5 years of college. And during my 4th year of college, I found out I was pregnant. I was told by a lot of people that it was the biggest mistake I could make in my life. It was not going to get me through where I needed to be in life. I was not going to graduate from college. The last thing I should have been doing was having a baby. I heard it all. And out of spite, I made sure I graduated college. I did my last year online, and I had to lose cheerleading for my last year, which really
they don't let you
at the time.
They don't let pregnant cheerleaders be a thing.
No, actually, so they had a change of coaches, and my previous coach was very, very understanding. I actually competed in cheerleading until I was just short of 17 weeks pregnant.
Okay.
And I did my final competition just after turning 17 or 16 weeks. So she was very, very understanding. She let me do it because it was like the last thing I wanted to do. We did our precautions, we're careful, talked to my doctor, all that jazz. But when there was a change of hands, we got a new coach, and they were not open to having an infant near, or me having to dedicate more time, not as much time to cheerleading, because I would have to find a babysitter, and I wasn't somewhere I was able to do. So I didn't have very good family ties at the time, and I was just kind of doing it all with just me and my now husband. And I went back to work after 4 weeks of having her, which is mind blowing. And I just kind of tried to throw myself into making sure I was providing the best life for this little human being that I had just created. And in the process, I sort of started to lose myself because I was so focused on her, and I wanted to do what was best for her. And I was always thinking of her. And I think that's just kind of motherly instinct. But in the process, you kind of just forget about yourself. You forget about your needs, and my self-confidence from, being a cheerleader who was very fit to I just had a baby and I struggled through my pregnancy and wasn't in the best shape of my life, but you don't bounce back. You don't know that when you have your first kid either. You expect to bounce back. You expect to have your body back. And when it doesn't happen as fast as you want it to, it's a battle. It's a huge battle with your brain. But I ended up, graduating college with my social work degree, with my little girl on my hip, cheering me on, and the proudest moment of my life, outside of having her and her sister. And then
I was going to say, like, I want to clap for you right now. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah. And the best part is so many people told me I wasn't going to be able to do it. And I did. And I was able to have my little girl there watching me. And because I was online school too, I pulled out of going to in-person class because it was I didn't know I was going to be able to have daycare or not. So for the first semester after having her, I was completely online, and I did my schoolwork with her next to me. And I only worked when I would maybe have an hour or two where she would have to be watched by somebody else before my husband would be home. But I would work as much as possible on top of that. And my last semester, I had to do an internship, which was in person, plus working full time, plus also doing the online coursework. So that was really, really hard. And I did miss out a lot on her. And I think that tore me up a lot at the time. And then I say a lot now that I'm thinking about it.
We all have, anytime that I do these kinds of things too, the thing that I used to say all the time was, right? Does that make sense? And so it's funny, like after you listen to yourself talk for a while, you're like, dang, I say some weird shit, but it's totally normal. Like people say, and like, it's just how we talk.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. So, after I graduated, we had actually considered going and moving to Canada at that time. And due to some very stupid mistakes I made with getting in trouble with my license in college, it wasn't an option at that time. So we had to reevaluate what we were going to do. I was going to end up finding a full-time job for a hot minute, and we were going to go from there. We were going to, go where the wind took us. And after I graduated, I had probably 10 interviews for full-time jobs in 1 week. And I had interviewed for a job within my present company at that time, because I was working as a CNA, for a higher up job, moving up within the company. And I was like, this is the best case scenario, because when you have a bad background and you're working in healthcare, you have to go through so many and more extra steps to get hired. You have to, write an I'm sorry letter, essentially. And in my mind, if I could move up with the company I've already done the I'm sorry letter with, then that would be the best thing, because I wouldn't have to introduce myself to somebody new. I wouldn't have to have them try to, distinguish me from my background, because the people I worked with already knew who I was, and they knew my personality. They knew my work ethic. So in my mind, that was the best thing. I ended up getting the offer for the job an hour after leaving. This backstory a little bit, I actually presented my resume to the vice president of the company to be an executive director. I was so confident in myself that I could do that job. And I didn't get it, obviously, but I made an impression on the VP. It was a story that was always told every single time she was near me, and she told a lot of other people about it too. But I made such an impression on her presenting my resume, thinking that I think I was 23 at the time, 23-year-old fresh out of college with a social work degree, could run an entire retirement community. And so when they did pick an executive director and she had heard about me, she obviously wanted to interview me after I presented her my resume. And so an hour after my interview, I got the job. She hired me for more than I had put down that I wanted, and I canceled every single interview I had. I was kind of living on this high, and I ultimately didn't fully know what I was getting myself into. But I poured myself into that job. I was with them for just short of 3 years. And I poured myself into it so much that I was working more than I was at home. I, in my mind, thought I had to work and I had to do everything I possibly could to provide for this little baby that I had. And then I ended up pregnant with our youngest. And so in my mind, I needed to make sure that I was financially sitting where I needed to be. And to me, it was at that time punching a clock as much as I could and trying to hit overtime as much as possible so that we could build our accounts. And in the process, I lost the big point of, you know, making sure I'm taking care of myself and also not losing out on those little moments. So after my youngest was born, I spent 3 months at home with her, best 3 months ever. And I almost didn't go back to work. And I struggled with it for a very long time. I went into work crying a lot of days. I broke down crying a lot of days. And my boss was like, you know, I think you have postpartum depression. And as someone who's already struggled with anxiety and depression throughout my life, I was like, I probably do, you know, and being away from my babies and losing out on these first. I had a daycare provider tell me when I missed out on my daughter's first steps. And, you know, that was hard because I want to be there for those big moments. I want to remember those moments. And, so I struggled with my boss a lot, and I struggled, and I started setting boundaries. I started saying, you know, I'm not pouring myself into this job anymore because it's not pouring into me. And you can only pour into something so long before it drains you to the point that it just doesn't fulfill you anymore. So ultimately we ended up separating, and that was a very hard thing to take on. We made the decision for me to become a stay-at-home mom. I was overjoyed to be able to be home and not have to rush in the mornings. I wasn't having to pick my kids up from daycare and them like crying for the first 2 hours of being home, because that's all they wanted was mom, and they weren't getting mom. They were having, you know, mom coming home and rushing to get dinner done, rushing to clean, rushing to get all this stuff done. And I was rushing all the time, and I wasn't enjoying them, and I wasn't enjoying the time with them. And now I was able to. And I did go through a very rough patch of, who am I? Who am I if I am not working for somebody else? Who am I if I'm not punching a clock and, you know, feeling like I'm making a difference and impacting the world by punching this clock? And, you know, I struggled with my confidence with, you know, how do I accept my body after baby number 2? You know, I eventually did bounce back and was very thin after having my first one before she was a year old. And that bounce back didn't happen after my second one. It didn't happen. I still haven't fully bounced back, but that's okay. And it's just been a matter of, you know, learning to accept me and accepting like, I am who I am, and I'm doing what I can for my kids. And ultimately what's meant for me is going to happen for me. And while I'm not punching the clock and, you know, working with the elderly or, you know, working with other people, I can still be the light for the people in my life. I can still be the light to my friends and family or the people I encounter or my acquaintances. I can pour into my girls and our daycare friends and hope that they're going to spread a light to other people. And I mean, it's been a wild year, and you and I worked together for the last 6 months in the mastermind group. And, you know, even then I was struggling with setting boundaries. And that's like the biggest thing I've learned. In order to take care of myself, I have to make sure I'm setting boundaries, because I can't take care of other people if I'm not setting those boundaries. So, I mean, who I am now, I mean, I've matured in a ton in the last 3, 4, 5 years. Peyton's almost 5 years compared to who I was in high school or college. Yeah, I mean, it's a wild ride. I've been all over the place, I guess.
As I think we all have, like, there's no real manuals for life, and everybody just makes it seem like you're just supposed to have it all figured out. I remember feeling an immense amount of pressure in high school, and this has been years ago, but what are you going to do when you grow up? Where are you going to go to college? Where are you going to get this? Where are you going to do that? And they don't really teach you that it's okay to change your mind, or that like feelings are normal, emotions are normal. Like you'll have highs and lows. And really after that high school era, after you turn, 18 and you're an adult, you have a lot of shit to figure out. And I think that's where that you learn who you truly are versus what you have been molded to think you are, kind of thing. Right. And everybody and their mom has an opinion on it. Like even hearing you say when you got pregnant with your daughter in college and the things that people said to you, like that just irks me. You know what I mean? And so
right.
I just don't understand how people can be so, and I'm sure they do it with well-meaning intentions. But at the same time, it's like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, kind of thing,
Right.
But this goes back to like the confidence building, and how sometimes it's really hard to build your confidence when you're not surrounded by the right people. But then you have to do the inner work to be that confident individual and to shift your mindset, because if you can't find the light, be the light. If you can't find the joy, be the joy. So where do you think that shift started to happen for you? Either with like the confidence and the mindset stuff, because you really are. I mean, you're a very different person today than you were several years ago. And so kind of walk us through what that journey of inner confidence and the mindset shifts.
So part of it has to do with, I try to be a little more conscious of who I'm surrounding myself with. And I try to be a little bit better with the energy I allow. And a lot of times I'm one of those people who will just put on a smiling face. I have been on my own since I was 17. I've always taken care of myself. And for the longest time it was, well, what are people going to think about me? What are people going to think about me? Like, I have to do this to please people, like, and I don't know, and that could be from childhood drama, what have you. But, I think, I did get a little bit more confidence after having Peyton, knowing like, and, graduating college, like that was a big thing for me, is like, not only have I always taken care of myself, but I just finished putting myself through college with a baby. And granted, I only had a baby for the last year of it, but, that was a big thing for me. I did that myself. I didn't have anybody else doing it. I didn't have anybody else doing the work. I did that. And like, that was a big thing. Like, I am capable of doing anything. If I can graduate college with a baby on my hip, after, 6 years before that, I was living in a car for 2 weeks by myself. Like, if I can go from that to this, I can do anything. I just have to put the work in. And, I did forget that for a little bit. The biggest thing is, even now, is you have to stop listening to the little voices. Little voices don't pay your bills. Little voices don't build a house. Little voices don't, get you a college degree or, put food on your table. People's opinions don't do anything for you except for either tear you down or build you up. And if they're tearing you down, you don't need them around you. And even now, I try not to entertain negative comments. There's been I've had people reach out to me on my Instagram, and they disagree with something that I post. And I'm open for, an intelligent conversation. I will always, conversate with somebody. But if you're looking for an argument, I won't entertain it. I don't want to entertain your negative energy because you don't like something that I put out with the best of intentions. And if people can't see that, they don't need to be around you. Surround yourself with positive people and remember that you are worth more than any of the money in the world. You are worth so much. You have so much value to this world, and only the universe knows what you are destined to do. So instead of questioning yourself and questioning your self-worth, do what fills your cup, do what makes you happy, and ultimately just try to be there for other people how you would want them to be there for you. If you don't want the negative people in your life, make sure you're not being a negative person either. And I know I catch myself at times where I can be negative and I can get in that negative lack of mindset, but I also try to remind myself of the positives in my life and where I've gotten, where I built myself, and making sure that I continue to encourage other people that it's possible for them to get to this point too. I mean, confidence isn't something that you just flip a switch. It's a work in progress. And it's not like you have the confidence and you have it, you always have it. You can lose it just as fast as you gain it. So you have to work on it every single day. You have to make sure that you're not thinking about everybody else's opinions every single day. I'm sitting here wearing a crop top. I never would have wore a crop top 4, 5, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. But I'm sitting here wearing a crop top because it makes me feel good and it makes me confident. And granted, somebody might think, why is a mom of 2 wearing a crop top? I'm wearing a crop top because I'm proud of how I look and it makes me feel good. And I had 2 babies. I'm proud of that. If you don't like it, turn away.
And really, that's it. I feel like, and this is something I tell my daughter all the time when she says, Mom, why is this? Or why is that? I just tell her, people can make their own choices. And anytime she says I always tell people mind your own business. If it's not bothering you, mind your own business. If she wants to rock that crop top, if she wants to rock the purple hair, if he wants to wear, I don't know, booty shorts and cowboy boots, I don't care. If it's not hurting anybody, why does it matter? And I think Absolutely. If people can just get into the more accepting mindset, there wouldn't be so much hate, and I get it that there's some pretty whack stuff out there, but if you just stay in your own lane, it really doesn't affect you, and this is where I think you can kind of build your confidence muscle too. And it's a building practice. And just like you said, you can lose it as quickly as you gained it. And it's just like exercise, it's not like you go run a mile one day and all of a sudden you're this pro marathoner. You got to work at it. And it's the same thing with any of the mindset stuff, any of the personal development stuff, any of the confidence stuff, putting yourself out there, whatever it looks like. It's a daily practice until it becomes a habit and ingrained into your brain.
Absolutely. And I like to think of it, it's a little bit of exercise for your brain.
Yes.
I mean, our brains need the work just as much as our bodies. And sometimes that mental work is the hardest part to do.
Yes. What do you think's been the hardest part for you? I think for me, just to give you an example, accepting, knowing my worth, telling myself that I'm worthy or that I'm capable. Cause I used to struggle a ton with imposter syndrome, the who am I? But then I would say on the other side of that, asking for help. Cause I was such a control freak perfectionist that, cause I totally relate to you when, you're working through high school and college and doing all the things, doing all the jobs. I think the most I did was at one point I had 3 jobs and I was going to school full time. Now I didn't have kids, but I did have dogs and horses and, things to take care of. And, I'd get home at 11:30 at night, just to turn around and get up at 4:30 in the morning to be to work by 5:30 and do it all again the next day, and, it was that hustle, but I had a very lack mentality. And I also was afraid to ask for help or ask for what I needed. Cause I was constantly I'll just do it myself. So what was the biggest challenge for you, either mindset wise or confidence wise, over these last few years?
Mindset wise, I mean, honestly, realizing my self-worth. I always try to build other people, tell them how amazing they are, but then I go around and tell myself, well, you're crap.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a matter of trying to change my self-talk, and realizing what I'm capable of doing, what, all that I have, my worth, and, changing that. But, and setting boundaries, that has been a huge thing for me because, you talk about it, the energy vampires, and I
Mm-hmm.
am terrible about like not setting boundaries, especially with those energy vampires, which, sometimes are people I love. And, even in the, me being home and doing daycare, I was working from 6:30 in the morning until sometimes 10 o'clock at night in my own home. And I didn't have the guts to say no. And no is a very hard word for me. Obviously, it's an easy word to say, but it is a hard word to say to people. And setting boundaries and saying no has really helped me. And just making sure that I'm doing things that make me happy, like pour into my cup and finding those things. Because, you think you know what you like, but sometimes the things you never would have guessed you like.
And as you learn and grow though, too, like this is where I tell people there's not one size that fits all. I hate when I see things on there that are just like XYZ to self-care, 3 easy steps to blah, 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 blah. I'm like, it's not that easy, because as you acquire new information, as you go through new experiences, how you experience life changes. You may like skydiving today, 10 years from now, you may be like, I'm never skydiving again, and it's okay to change your mind on what your likes and dislikes are. And I think as parents, we go through that too, because there's probably some things, like I used to enjoy going out to the bars on the weekends. I can't tell you the last time that I've gone to a bar. Well, I mean, I'm pregnant now, but you know what I mean? Like the things that I enjoy are entirely different, and that's okay.
I mean, I just got my kids' Baby Shark tickets, and I am like,
so stoked.
Excited. And I had a friend that was like, "Are you kidding me? Baby Shark's annoying." I'm like, I'm excited to see my kids like lose their mind, like, and do that stuff. Like, and I mean, I do struggle with, it's still to this day, accepting help.
Mm-hmm.
Accepting help, because to me, it's like, it's just a hit in the gut that, I'm not capable of doing something. And so even to this day, I will do everything I possibly can to do it by myself. And it takes a lot for me still to say no. But I know if I have to ask for help for whatever it is, I do have the people around me that would be there in a heartbeat.
So can you walk us through a couple examples? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just was thinking, like, for those who struggle with setting boundaries, or those who struggle to find things that bring them joy, can you give us a few examples of how you set boundaries, what that looked and felt like, and then also what it looked and felt like to find things that brought you joy again?
So like, as far as boundaries, one of the big things for me was being more conscious of my time. So this started where I only worked X amount of hours for my daycare, for example. So instead of, just taking whoever, just being there for whatever hours, those families needed me, because they do end up being like family to me. I end up caring very deeply for the kids. And then, you get close with the parents as well. And so instead of just being like, oh yeah, if that's what you need, that's what you need. I got you. It's fine. I'll take care of your kid. Instead of trying to be the answer for their problems, I started to tell them, I'm here from this time to this time. And I'm sorry if I can't answer all of your problems and I can't be there for the entire time you need, but this is what I'm here for. And it's a very tough conversation. Setting boundaries is very tough. And it makes my chest hurt even thinking of setting boundaries. But nothing good comes out of your comfort zone. Well, very little. You have to get out of your comfort zone, and boundaries. I don't know if I know anyone who actually enjoys setting boundaries. Maybe I'm wrong. It's not easy, but it's necessary. And, saying no, what you won't do. My husband and I was trying to do all of the housework, and eventually I realized I can't do all of the housework. Even being home, I can't do all of the housework by myself. And, we had that conversation and we negotiated, and now he does dishes. Now our lives are way easier because the one thing I don't have to worry about every single day is dishes. And dishes pile up so easy. And, it's just having the conversations to make sure you're setting boundaries and making sure that, setting boundaries don't always go easily. They don't always go positively, and I guess, I don't know, I'm trying to think of another one of boundaries. There's been people that I just kind of distance myself, and I don't feed into their negativity when they want all they want is this negativity, and they want more negativity, and they want you to pour into it, and I just won't. I shut it down. I shut the conversation down and try to change the topic, or I'll be like, I'm not really, I know, I'd rather not. As far as finding things I like, get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone and, try things. I started modeling for my friend in October, and it is one of my favorite things to do every single month, is to get in front of this camera and be all about me and be the center. Well, not really the center of attention. The focus is the clothes, but, trying on all these fun clothes and getting my picture taken and being silly and sassy and just showing my full personality. It pours into me so much every single time. And I don't know that I fully would have done that a year and a half ago. I don't know that my confidence was in a place where I don't think I should be modeling clothes for a boutique, because I didn't realize my self-worth. So ultimately, you have to find your self-worth before you can, you can find some things. There's, books or, little things, but you got to find self-worth and then truly find yourself. Know who you are. Know what makes you happy. It all goes together, essentially. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
No, you are. I know it's once you work on one thing, what's the saying of put all your focus on if you put your focus here, all ships in the harbor rise, or something like that. And that's really true. If you can focus on just one thing instead of all the things, a lot of times that'll help boost your confidence or build your confidence, and you'll feel more confident in other areas of your life. It's working on physical fitness. If you're working on one area, it's much easier to transition and work on that area because you already have that energy and momentum from what you've previously been working on to apply to a new muscle group or something. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I get it. And a lot of times, if you work on one aspect of your life, you'll notice. And this is where I always tell people, you want to focus on the biggest pain point first. So whether it's self-worth, confidence, whether it's money, whether it's, good relationships, setting boundaries, whatever it is, whatever the big thing is, focus on that first. Don't try to split attention to everything, split focus to everything, because then you're going to get split results. The biggest pain point is where you want to focus your energy and attention. And when you can start to overcome those fears and beliefs and really build yourself up in that area, it'll be easier to go and use that energy and momentum to move on to the next. And then all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, wow, this is better. And this is better. And this is better.
Yes, like you said, it just all goes hands in hand. It really does. Once you start focusing and working on yourself, then it'll all come together. ultimately.
Absolutely. I love that. Okay. So before we start to wrap this up, can you share with listeners a little bit about like what's next for you, what's going on in your life, and how they can learn more?
Well, let's see what's going on in life. So much. I'm working with my Monate business. Because I love those products, and I'm still doing our daycare, but we are putting the stuff together to get to Canada. We are going to make that dream happen, and I'm just going to hopefully keep being a light and hopefully keep helping other women find their confidence in themselves, or men, whoever. And then follow me on Instagram, I guess. That's the best way. I share as much as possible on my Instagram, usually on my stories, but I'm gonna hopefully be taking some more trips here soon, hopefully a retreat in the future, wink wink. And I'm just hopefully bigger and better continuously. Yeah.
I love that. And yes, everybody should follow you on social media because I just get a kick out of your reels. I really need to get on this reels bandwagon. I don't know. I just haven't yet. I like watch everybody else.
We will get you there. We will get you there. I promise.
Oh, I love this. All right. So before I let you go, what do you want to leave listeners with today?
Remember, you are powerful. You are capable of so much in the world. And before you can love anyone, make sure you are fully loving yourself. Kids not included. You can always love your kids. But don't
disclaimer.
Disclaimer. You can always love your kids. Don't lose yourself. Don't lose yourself at all. And make sure to constantly do something to fill your cup up, no matter how hard it is. Because you can't pour into other people if you don't take care of yourself as well. So yeah, 100%. I think that's about it.
I love it. I love it. All right, guys, I will put all of Justine's information in the show notes so you guys can go follow her on social media. And she really is a light. She just shares positivity, ways to, she shows her family, she shows all these things. And it's just so cool and refreshing to go to somebody who really is just such a joy to be around, and you're always smiling. And I feel like you're one of those people that like your smile is contagious. So anytime I like watch you, I'm like, oh, I just like, automatically like want to smile. It's like a yawn, you see somebody yawning and then next thing you know, you want to yawn. That's kind of how Justine's smile is. So if nothing else, follow her. I promise she will make you smile. Justine, I do want to thank you for coming on today. This has been very cool. I love how you talked a little bit about, like your journey and how you've come to where you are, and just the confidence and the mindset shifts that it truly is possible. It all starts with you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me on. I was very nervous for this, but I'm so glad to be here.
Everybody is. Every time I do one, they're like, oh my God. And then afterwards they're like, yes, this was awesome. So this was awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sausha.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the podcast. I am so grateful for all of my listeners, and I wanted to quick share with you ways to work with me this fall. So as you know, the upcoming Lake of the Ozarks retreat is October 7th through 10th. Spaces are limited. So head on over to SaushaDavis.com or set up a free clarity call to see if there are spaces left or for more information. Now, I am offering something for a limited time. I am offering one-on-one life and business coaching sessions, along with one-on-one Reiki and Chakra intuitive healing sessions. So if this interests you, head on over to SaushaDavis.com. I have single sessions available or packages of 3 sessions available. So if you're looking for ways to work with me, you can attend a retreat and have some fun and some adventure in your life, along with some spirituality and some personal development. Or if you're working on things in your life or your business, and you want help or advice on those, hit me up there. Otherwise, if you're looking to heal some patterns, balance your chakras, things along those lines, or just channel some Reiki energy to help calm, rest, relax, things along those lines. If you're looking for some clarity, head on over SaushaDavis.com, book your sessions now. And if you have questions, as always, hit me up. I'd be more than happy to help. So have a kick-ass day, guys. We'll catch you next episode.